Time for NBC 10 Coffee Break with Frank and Friends.
Thursday morning edition. We're glad you're with us here on Facebook Live. And as the sign behind the trophy says, Frank and Friends. And today our friends include Rhonda Corey from Warwick, comedian who has just won an award, and she has the trophy to prove it.
Clearly.
And we are going to talk about that in detail in just a couple minutes. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to find out what kind of comedy that you are involved in, and I think you're going to find it refreshing. But I want to ask you this, and we'll get into more detail later,
Okay.
but do you ever incorporate only in Rhode Island stories into your routines?
I do have a few only in Rhode Island, so I had to incorporate that, especially for the challenge.
All right, and we'll get into that in a minute. We should say Rhonda lives in Warwick with her family. Born in California, but raised, I think, in New Bedford.
That's
so
correct.
a lot of ties to the local area. So when we say only in Rhode Island, you know what we're talking about. Let's talk comedy. Let's talk refreshingly clean comedy. Rhonda Corey from Warwick is with us now, just back from a contest in Chicago where you are #1
I am.
in terms of clean comedy.
Clean. It's the Clean Comedy Challenge, or the CCC, as we like to call it. Yeah, there were 22 of us competing for this
Coveted
trophy, which I don't go anywhere without now. It comes with me
Nor should
everywhere.
you. Nor
No, of course not. I can't.
All right. If you're not familiar with Rhonda's brand of comedy, we're going to show you an example now. At some recent appearance, and you can tell us afterwards where the appearance is. This is from her website. If there's any problem with taking the material, your copyright attorney can call my copyright attorney. But you scanned the audience. You determined that one of the women in the audience was pregnant, and then you gave her some advice.
Oh, so you have no idea what to expect? Easy. Don't worry about a thing. Like, right out. But you'll find this, right? When you're expecting, complete strangers, they'll walk right up to you. And they'll put their hand right on your belly, right? I hate that. Especially because I'm not pregnant.
That's so true. I learned a long time ago, never make the first inquiry about that. Let them tell you whether or not they're in a family way.
That's true. That is true.
I got to tell you, we had Kathy Griffin on here on Coffee Break in advance of an appearance she made at the Vets in Providence. Now, her brand of comedy and your brand of comedy could not be more opposite.
Different, yeah.
She kept it clean here, which is why I still have my job today. But I think there's really an audience for the kind of comedy that you like to perform.
There really is, I do perform a lot in churches, and what you saw was a women's event called Iron Sharpens Iron. But I perform in churches, but also fundraisers. Tonight I'm doing an event, Funny for Funds. And that's in Narragansett. So there is definitely a need for clean comics.
Now, and here's an example of a topic that many comedians could take one way, but Rhonda here takes it another way, and it's private lives of married couples.
So we just celebrated 22 years of marriage. Thank you. It was ours. So, but last year he totally forgot our anniversary. But yeah, I know. But this year he really made it up to me. He went out and got me this very expensive Swarovski crystal bracelet. Thank you. But do me a favor and don't mention it to him because it's a surprise. Now, things have really changed in our marriage because, I remember in the beginning when he would walk through the door and I would smell his Calvin Klein cologne. And now he walks through the door and I smell Ben Gay. It's not sexy, but it does clear out my nostrils. And you know, over the years, we've learned each other's love language. Like, he knows mine is quality time with some words of affirmation, and I know his is don't spend money.
Rhonda's husband, John, is here. I think you're being dissed over here. How does the audience respond to this? I think I know the answer, but you tell me.
Oh, they love it because they can relate to it.
Sure.
You know, it's typical in every marriage, I think. So.
It is. Does he help with the material, John?
He is a big source of my material, as is my son.
Notice how you said source. It doesn't help with the writing. It's the source.
Oh no, he can't help with the writing. He'd like to, but no.
John's got Rhode Island connections too, of course. Although I believe he was born in California as well.
No. He was born here in Providence.
Oh, you were.
Yeah.
That's right. And you, on our way into the studio here, you explained to me where he ranked in his class in one of the Rhode Island classrooms.
Yes, well, he was raised on Block Island, and he was ranked number 3 in his class. Of course, there were only 3 kids in his class, which is pretty sad.
Well, we're going to get John up here tomorrow just for a response. Right? You're on camera, John.
There it is.
Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. You're performing tonight in Narragansett.
I am. And you can check out my Facebook page. I do have a listing of where I'm going to be and when I'm going to be there. And RhondaCoreyComedy.com, plug. And if you see this trophy, you'll probably see me behind it.
There you go.
Rhonda, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Coffee Break. And we thank you for joining us as well. We'll see you again tomorrow.